Very, very good morning. Top of it, too. Yeah, the sun is shining. Life is beautiful, isn't it, though? Right now, it is just gorgeous outside. The sun is shining. It is an absolutely beautiful day, and I want to thank you for tuning in. Welcome to the Aired Out Podcast, live from Fly on the Wall Productions on North Main Street in Barrie. We're streamed everywhere you get your podcasts. We're on the web at airedoutvt.com. We were talking a whole heck of a lot about that yesterday with Mary Peterson from Woodland Studios. What an amazing lady and an incredible job that she has done with our all-new website. I am thrilled with it. Happy birthday today to Bob Sample, who's on the list. I see Brenda posting that up this morning. Michelle Tiffany is celebrating one as well. Patty O'Neill is on the list. Oh, boy. Jamie Jones. Naomi Tilton. Happy birthday. Let's see. Lou Fury is on the list today as well. Vern Doolin. Happy birthday, Vern. I'm just looking at my list here. Crystal Merrill. Melody St. John. Is it the 28th already? Wow. Samantha Fow, Karina Alexander, Richard Foster, Bruce Valerie. Look at these birthdays here. There's a lot. Anna Delamedia, and Pat Chamberlain. Sandy Luce. The list goes on. Wow. Happy birthday, everybody. Hope you're doing all right. Man, there is so much going on. The community calendar is just jammed, and frankly, I am thinking about doing an episode just for our community calendar because it is packed, absolutely jammed. There is so much happening in our community. I don't even know where to begin. I have glanced at the world. I've had a look at it, and I see everything that's happening. It is amazing. Just a quick programming note here. June 4th, which is that really, truly a week from today? Jen Guy, the Director of Human Skills and Student Engagement, is going to be my guest here on the Aired Out Podcast from Sweethearts and Heroes. And an amazing lady who's done amazing things. About 2,000 elementary school students and about 100 high school students from 6 North Country schools have participated in the community days and are still involved with this in the month of May and coming up in June with Sweethearts and Heroes. These high schoolers in these school districts are absolutely smashing barriers and doing remarkable, remarkable things with the help, yes, of their teachers and the administrators at their schools, and, of course, with the great help of Sweethearts and Heroes. But they're just doing incredible, incredible things. This is basically obstacle courses and team challenges that are similar to the Spartan-supported races that these high school students completed at Sweethearts and Heroes the first couple of days of that Youth Leadership Summit last September. And with me is Haley Sutphen on the line. Good morning, Haley. How are you?
Hi, good morning. I'm great. How are you?
I'm so glad to have you. You know, man, it's like Rick and Tom Loudon, all of these guys have been singing your praises for weeks now. I've been hearing about you, and I only hope to meet you someday. I hope that will happen. Tell us.
Yeah, I would love to do that.
So you're a senior at Ticonderoga.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. So are you allowed to, I'm assuming you're allowed to break free from your studies and hop on the air with us here, or you?
Oh, yeah, of course.
This is wonderful. Tell us a little bit about you. You're a senior. You're graduating very soon.
Yes, less than a month actually.
And you're headed where?
I am headed to Vanderbilt University in the fall. I'll be studying biomedical engineering, so
Biomedical
I'm pretty
engineering
excited.
at Vanderbilt?
Yes, that is correct.
Wow. Smart kid. Well,
Thank you.
young lady, I should say. Young lady. How old are you?
I'm 18.
18 years old, and you're going to be doing this? This is amazing.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. It doesn't feel real.
And you're at the top of your class right now, right?
Yes, I
You're
am. I actually found that out when Loudon and Abby were at my school the other day doing another type of interview.
you're
So I
you're
actually found out.
valedictorian?
Yeah, yes, I
Wow.
am.
Good for you. You tell us about how you got involved with Sweethearts and Heroes and how this has changed your life. I know that you're already changing the lives of so many kids, but what's your story? How did you discover this? How did you get involved?
Yeah, so my story, it's pretty complex, honestly. I started with Sweethearts and Heroes in 10th grade. At that point in my life, I wasn't necessarily thriving in the academic classroom, one could say. So ninth grade, I was pretty focused on school, actually so focused that I kind of went through a period of burnout. And that's kind of where I was, all throughout my sophomore year. It was just not really caring about school too much, not really caring about the sports that I was in, just, not really caring about too many things going on in my life. I was definitely struggling. I was, a young kid. I didn't really know who I was yet, and a lot of teenagers face that struggle, but I was facing it pretty hard. So I was, a sophomore, didn't really know who I was, struggling to stay motivated in school and with all of my activities that I was involved in. And then Tom and Rick came to my school in December of my sophomore year and gave a presentation. It was the first time I'd ever seen anything about them, I believe. I'd maybe seen them on social media, but I didn't really know who they were. Um, and Tom spoke, and I remember listening to him sitting in the auditorium and thinking to myself, okay, this guy, he seems to know what he's talking about a little bit. And then Rick came in. Rick walked in and he gave a presentation. And I remember just that moment really has been a changing point or a pivoting point for me in my life, listening to Rick speak about his experiences and just listening to the ways that he had to persevere through all the things that had happened to him, and how his whole memo, his whole message is you gotta have hope in order to get through a lot of these difficult things in your life. And I said this to Loudon the other day. I said it's incredibly hard to accept your own defeat after hearing Rick's story. And really, that is what happened to me. I was kind of giving up on myself. I wasn't motivated anymore in school. I didn't feel like I had anything going for me until I listened to Rick speak on that day. And from that moment forward, I knew that this was something that I wanted to be involved in.
Isn't that remarkable? So you're really paying attention here of what's being said and letting this into your not only your ears but also your soul. You're really dialed in here at a young age. That's so cool.
Yeah, I definitely was, especially during that presentation. I've always been someone who pays close attention to things. I'm very meticulous with my approach to life, especially school, at least most of the time. I don't like to let things slide or go unnoticed. So I was tuned into every word that both of them spoke on that day.
So you were struggling a little bit in your life at this time?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I had a lot of things going on. Um, a lot of mental health problems, to be completely honest. mental health was definitely a struggle for me in 10th grade, and I was kind of, trying to find ways to deal with it, and the ways that I was dealing with it weren't very healthy, mentally or physically. Kind of self-medicating, doing things like that. I wasn't doing well, and I didn't have a lot of good relationships surrounding me with my parents, with my friends, really with anyone. I didn't have a good relationship with myself. So that affected all the people around me. And, I'd always, my entire life, I have two parents who are teachers. My entire life, I'd always been super, super focused on school. And then in 10th grade, I burnt out. I didn't care anymore. I didn't see the point in my academics anymore because I didn't see the point in anything at that point in my life. So,
If you don't mind my asking,
yeah, of course, ask anything.
yeah, I mean, I heard you say self-medicating, and I'm just wondering what that, if you can shed some more light on that, what that looked like, what that was.
Yeah, of course. I like to stay vague at first just to not go too into detail, but really I was smoking a lot of weed, doing a lot of things like that, typical teenager going out and partying on the weekends, except it wasn't on the weekends. It was 7 days a week. Um, which I mean isn't really healthy for anyone, but it wasn't good for me as a high school kid to be doing that all the time. It was an outlet for me. It was the only way that I knew how to deal with everything that was going on in my life. Um,
Wow. Do
yeah.
do you feel that meeting the guys from Sweethearts and Heroes, that your school bringing them into your school was definitely a pivotal moment for you? Is this something that um, really, we already know it had an impact on you, but it can have an impact on someone, and that's great, but they can still go on and slip back. Was this a turning point for you, meeting these guys and hearing their message?
Oh, 100%. I 100% honestly believe that I would not be maybe even graduating high school if that presentation never happened. I was so just shut away and turned away from everything. It was a turning point. It affected so many things for me later on down the road. Not immediately, but it kind of when they came in and spoke, it planted a seed of, okay, Rick and Tom, they got through all of these hard things in their life, especially Rick. It kind of just planted the seed, like, if he can do that, so can I. And from that moment forward, I think I was kind of disappointed with myself prior to them coming in. I was like, okay, Haley, like, why are you doing this? Why are you smoking so much weed all the time? Why are you not unlocking your full potential anymore? Like, what's going on? So it was a wake up call for sure. And meeting them and speaking with them, they're good people, and you can just tell when you talk to them and when you meet them. And everybody in my school kind of understood that collectively. We wanted them to come back immediately.
And
So
you're in what grade at this point? Ninth grade, 10th grade?
this was 10th grade. So they came to my school 10th grade, and 10th grade was really that low period that I've
All right.
been
So,
talking about.
as a sophomore, though, it's like, you have conversations when you're around other adults, but you also have a whole separate kind of a conversation when you're around your peers,
Mm.
which I'm guessing, 10th grade, there's a lot of goofing around. There's a lot of goofing around. What were you saying to your peers about this, for lack of a better term, this transformation that you were going through, as a result of Sweethearts and Heroes. What were you saying to your peers about these guys and about how this was impacting you?
In regards to the transformation itself, honestly, I think I didn't really have to say anything. People could just see it. They could see the effects of their their impact in my life. Um, as for what I was saying to my friends and just, the people around me, right in the beginning, it was, things were a little blurry. We didn't really know exactly what was going to happen with Sweethearts and Heroes. Um, the first program we did with them was actually the Braves program, and I was involved with that, but that didn't really happen until I believe it was later on in my sophomore year or the beginning of my junior year. So it took time for things to kind of come together. Um, but I remember just n- the 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 talk around the school of that presentation. It didn't really die down ever. We'd go to lunch, and it kind of get brought up at least once. I don't want to say every day, but at least every couple of days. Like, oh yeah, you remember this, or remember what he said, referencing Rick or Tom or whatever. And a lot of the kids in my school were also pretty fascinated with Tom's past of the fighting, and they idolized him, and they idolized Rick for everything that he had done too.
Can you
So
imagine? Can you
mhm.
imagine? Can you imagine being in a high school without Sweethearts and Heroes?
No, I honestly, I think I probably would have dropped out at some point, if I'm being completely honest. And I know that sounds really extreme, but I was very extreme at that point in my life, and I really, truthfully, just did not care. I was fed up. Without Sweethearts and Heroes, I don't think that ever would have changed. Maybe I would have graduated high school, maybe not. I wouldn't have gone on to do anything worthwhile. I know that for a fact.
Wow, what a testament! Tom is, as you well know, he is a guy that has a brain that never shuts off.
That's true.
He's always he goes from 0 to 60 in a half a second. He has all these acronyms, brave and hope and others. There's so many different programs and so many different philosophies that he's incorporating with Sweethearts and Heroes. Is this overwhelming at any point to you?
It's funny that you bring that up because I remember this past year, I think it might have been Christmas Day, honestly, or maybe it was New Year's. It was one of those two. He sent me a text about something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember thinking to myself, you know, this guy, he's still working, he's still going. And I noticed that because I find myself doing that a lot too. I'm very passionate about the things that I do. I enjoy the things I do at this point in my life, whether it be, math or science, whatever it is. But it kind of consumes the way that I operate because I do what I love. And Tom, I believe, is the same exact way.
Mm.
He's texting me on Christmas, New Year's, whatever, because his mind it never shuts off like you just said. And I respect that, somebody who really is passionate about the work that they do. It's not a job to him. Maybe sometimes I'm sure it gets overwhelming with emails and meetings, but
Yeah.
the work itself is something that he is passionate about and something that he wants to do. And not everybody operates that way. Not everybody finds the thing that they love to do. Um, so I think I respect it 100%, and it makes me want to work with him even more.
I was going to ask you about that. Tom sent me a text saying, "Before you have Haley on, we got to talk. This lady is the real deal. She really gets it. She really embraces everything that we're trying to accomplish with Sweethearts and Heroes. Are
Mhm.
you're setting sail here soon for Vanderbilt? Are you going to be staying in touch with Tom and Sweethearts and Heroes? What are you going to be doing? I want to hear what you've been doing at school. You're doing huge presentations on bullying. Am I right?
Yes, I am. So, yep. So in terms of what I'm going to be doing, I don't know, and I was thinking about that about 5 minutes before I called in. Um, it's something that I want to stay involved in, and I know that for a fact. I am going to be living in Nashville, Tennessee, which is about 15 hours away. So the logistics of that, I'm not sure exactly how it's going to happen. And you know, I think as a person, I am aligned with everything that Sweethearts and Heroes is striving to accomplish and everything that they want to do, and I know that, and it makes me very intrigued as to the possibilities and the opportunities that could come from that sort of alignment. Um, Obviously, I want to go to college, get my degree in engineering and math and science because that's what I love. That's where I what my interests are to my core. Tom and I talked about doing some sort of calls or some sort of online presence, I guess, because I am going to be so far away. But I'm interested to see what exactly will happen with that. I hope we can figure something out.
What have you been doing for the last year or so with these
Mhm.
youngins at your school? What are you saying to them about how are you representing Sweethearts and Heroes, and what are you saying to them about bullying?
Yeah, so I mean, we've been crafting our STEP program at our school, which I'm sure you've heard about. STEP is a program where you can get a certification to present, presentations on bullying to kindergarteners all the way up to second graders. And we spent a while figuring out what our presentations were going to be and practicing them, running through them. We did our first step presentations on my birthday, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was a lot of fun. And we follow the general script of the Sweethearts and Heroes, the one that they provide, but we give it our own spin-off. It's not a copy and paste exactly what Tom and Rick do. It's our own story, which I find very interesting. And I've seen so many different kids in my school just have so much fun figuring out what they want their little hook to be for their presentation. And the elementary school kids, they love it. They listen to every word that we say, and they I mean, I think the information definitely gets into their heads because we keep it simple. We reiterate the same things over and over to make sure that they grasp onto it. I mean, my hook, I dressed up as a football player, and my opening scene, I guess, was me running in to they call it the fishbowl. It's like a auditorium. But I was running into this room with, rock music playing with a football helmet on and holding a football, trying to juke out these kids or doing a spin move, running all around them. And they thought it was awesome. And they got super excited, super hyped up. They thought it was fun. And doing that, getting them excited, getting them to think that what I'm about to do is fun, it makes them listen a little bit more. It helps them to listen a little bit more.
So, you have there's a ton of responsibility with something like this. And listen, I'll tell you, and not to sound like an old man here, but this stuff was out of the question when I was your age. These conversations were not happening. Teachers were there to teach, and students were either bullied or they weren't.
Mhm.
And they took care of things on the playground, or they didn't. But there weren't conversations about this, and there most certainly wasn't conversations that were trickling down from other students, especially ones that were a few years older than us. This was just not happening at all.
Yeah. There's certainly been a change, and the change started when I was in elementary school. There was a bunch of presentations on bullying and respect and responsibility. You know, don't call people names, don't hit people, whatever. None of it really stuck. I mean, we would have a different person come into our school every single year. When I was from the ages of first grade to sixth grade. Um, and I think our school, similar to a lot of schools around us, we've been kind of looking for something that would be effective and fun and engaging, but I guess most importantly, effective. We wanted something that would work. And I think that Sweet Arts and Heroes and all of their programs that they have, the Braves program, the STEP program, and soon the Hope program, I think it is what it's going to be called. Um,
Yeah, which is an acronym for Hold On, Possibilities Exist.
yes, exactly. But all of these programs, they're effective, they're fun, kids want to do them, they want to come to school to do it. I've talked to a bunch of even high school kids that are like, oh, we have Braves? Okay, I'll come to school today. It has that sort of effect, and it has that sort of effect on the elementary school kids as well. Um, I've established quite a few relationships with kids in first grade, second grade. It's how society works. Young kids idolize older kids.
Yes,
We could say anything and they would listen to it with with no filter, no,
that's right.
you know, they listen to every word that we say.
Yeah.
So we've certainly, I guess, not used that to our advantage, but we've utilized that because, you know, like I said, the kids are going to listen to older kids better than they would listen to their teacher or their parent a lot of the time.
What was this youth leadership summit like for you last September?
The one with all of the older kids?
Yes, uh, that you were part of. Yes.
Yeah, that's a great question. I didn't know what to expect going into that summit, or into that Spartan race. It was a, I believe, 3-day, 2-day ordeal.
Threes.
Um, three, yeah. When I tell you, my guidance counselor words it this way. She wishes that she could take all of the emotion and all of the, you know, the vibe, the atmospheric vibe of those 3 days and all of that feeling and put it into a bottle and, and pour it out on days where bad things happen, where kids aren't feeling good. She wishes she could harness that energy and use it later on to offset bad things, I guess, or bad days that would happen in our school or in our school environment. Um, I've never seen so many kids from so many different backgrounds and schools with so many different interests and hobbies come together face to face, look at each other in the eye, not worry about who was texting them or, their Snapchat notifications, whatever it may be.
You didn't have any phones.
We didn't have any phones, and there are so many people that were very hesitant to that idea at first, like, "Oh, no, I'm gonna sneak my phone, I'm not doing that." But on day 1, we played some game outside, and there was not a single phone in sight, and it was awesome. It was a huge relief to just to look people in the eye and meet them and ask them, what's your name? Where are you from? What are your hobbies? Want to go do this? There was no distraction, I guess, like a phone would
Yeah.
be.
You're going to you're going to miss this a little bit when you head off to Nashville.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely.
But, Tom has given you some remarkable life skills and tools that you're going to be able to utilize in your life.
Yes,
I'll,
that
I'll,
I think about that a lot.
yeah, far outside of the classroom. You can be valedictorian till the cows come home, but in the end, having a mindset like this and trudging forward through life, having this knowledge and this this ability to be able to see things through a different lens is really, really important. And God bless Tom and Loudon and Rick and Brian and Pat and the rest of the team over at Sweethearts and Heroes for having such a profound impact on just one person, and that would be you. And like these guys say, and I incorporate this into my podcast too. If we could just change or help one person, that's all we're looking to do. And they certainly have done that with you, Haley.
They certainly have. I am so incredibly grateful for everything that they have done, and it was so unexpected. Um, I mean, looking back now, I see all of the things that they've done for me and all the ways they've affected not only me but my entire school.
Yeah.
It is crazy, and like you said, um, if you can help one person, that's what you have to start with. That's what you need to focus on, because when you help one person, that person can go on to help others, and those are the things I have in my toolbox, I guess, now as I go forward. There's a handbook, a step-by-step process on how to solve most of the math problems out there. You can study scientific facts and learn anything you could possibly want about a lot of things in the academic world. But I knew that, and I was good at that, but I didn't know how to necessarily do life.
Yeah.
And so many teenagers all across the country, they don't know how to. How are you supposed to? It's your first time living. It's your first time experiencing all of these things, and
Sure.
especially as a young kid, not knowing who you are and trying to, I guess, figure out the distinction between who you are and who you want to be.
Yeah.
I really struggle with that, and all the ways that Sweethearts and Heroes helped me figure that out, I believe it's set me up for success in the future. There's no doubt in my mind. I've been through a lot of hard things, and because of Sweethearts and Heroes, I've learned how to handle those hard things. Life isn't always going to be easy, and I know that, and I understand that pretty well. But I believe, I've hit rock bottom. A lot of people have. I think it's only up from here, and not necessarily in a linear way, but I think I'm set up pretty well.
I think you are too, Haley. I hope. Listen, it would be great to meet you at some point someday. I don't know how. I don't know where. Probably Tom will figure that out. But thank you ever so much for hopping on the air with me this morning.
Yes, of course. Thank you for having me. I'd love to meet you as well. I think that'd be pretty cool. And as a senior, I don't have too much going on anymore.
Yeah, right.
So.
It's just beginning, and I would be willing to wager that that old King Tom has got a little misty in the eyes going this morning. Listening to you, he has received many compliments from many adults over the years, and has experienced compliments in seeing young children and the effects that Sweethearts and Heroes has had on them. But to hear a young woman like you give this kind of testimony is pretty powerful stuff. I think you just made his day.
I hope I did. One of my long-term goals is to be able to give it back to him in some way, shape, or form. I don't know what it will look like, but
Wow.
when I want something, I get it. I am a pretty determined person overall, so I hope to be able to do that for him one day.
Thank you, Haley, so much. You made my
Yeah.
day too.
Thank you.
I
Thank you for
appreciate you.
having me.
You're very welcome. Boy, wow, what a testimony right there from an 18-year-old senior at Ticonderoga High School. Amazing, amazing. Wow. Listen, in the short time that I have known Tom and the gang at Sweethearts and Heroes, in that short time, I have realized more than ever that I've done a lot of interviews and I've been connected with a lot of wonderful organizations and people over the years. But man, it's like I am so blessed that Sweethearts and Heroes came to my daughter's school and that I have been introduced to these guys. Our Wednesday morning partnership is something that I am so excited about and I look forward to so much every week. And I'm already looking forward to next Wednesdays. Wednesday mornings, this is the day of the week when the World newspaper comes out, and Deb Phillips is with us this morning. Deb, good morning.
Good morning, JD. How are you this morning?
I'm well. Today's the big day. What's in the world? What can we expect?
Well, our featured advertiser this week is Mattress Land and Berry. Also, we have this week is the Gunner Brook Kids Fishing Derby on Saturday,
Yes.
June 7th.
Wow,
All good stuff.
I forgot all about that. See, this is why you guys do this, to remind us of these amazing events. That's been around for 1 billion years, Deb.
Well, I'm pretty close to 1 billion. I think this is their 96th annual Gunner Brook Kids Fishing Derby.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What else can we find in the world today?
Well, we have lots of good specials. We have the Pumpkin Pantry in Williamstown. We have the Granite City Market in Barry. All good grocery specials. And just, I don't know, more, so much stuff.
and folks want to know, this is being delivered to homes now.
Homes in the 05602. Still working on the 05641. So hopefully soon we'll be able to mail that in the Barry area too.
And always easy to advertise. It's such a great paper to thumb through. But what's the easiest way to advertise? Just pick up the phone and give you guys a call, or send you an email?
That's perfect. Say that or send us an email. Either way, that's perfect to do.
I always look forward to it. I know Chris will be here any time now, walking through the front door of the studio with my World paper, and I just look forward to unplugging for 10 minutes maybe if I can today and looking through the world. Love the paper, Deb.
Sounds good, JD. Thanks so much.
Yes, and a big hello to Gary over there this morning from all of us.
Will do.
All right. Thank you, Deb. Listen, I hope whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever town you're living in, I hope that you're getting outside today and you're getting some fresh air and you're taking in a little bit of vitamin D and some sunshine and some fresh air. Yesterday was amazing to be outside, to sit there with my Crocs on and watch Lily play softball in a softball game with the sun on my face, my sunglasses actually over my eyes. was amazing. To be able to need sunglasses was incredible. But it's going to be another beautiful day today. Then we're right back to it. Rain, cold, clouds, the whole 9 yards. With what I'm hearing is a nor'easter, the second nor'easter. And there's a 2% odd of a nor'easter hitting New England this time of year. 2%. And we just had one. Now we're going to have our second one this weekend. Upper level disturbance and barometric boundaries, and I don't care what they call it. We call it clouds, cold, and rain here in New England, and we're getting really sick of it, Mother Nature. If you're listening this morning to the Aired Out podcast, sitting right next to me, one of the best-looking dudes and one of my best friends of all time, Chris Autry. Good morning, buddy.
I've never had that kind of introduction before, and I'm just glad this is recorded so I can play that over and over again. No one's ever called me the best-looking dude in the world.
Well, look at you.
But thank you, man. And listen, this is vacation dress, Chris. You're like we switched. Like you're dressed up like you're going to a business meeting or something today, and I'm on vacation, bro. Like I'm just. JD, I'm getting old, man.
Listen, you were up here for 100 years. You moved back down home to North Carolina, where you've been for a couple of years now.
About 3 years, yeah.
And now you're back up here. This is where you choose to come back for vacation?
We always said when we left that we would try to make time to vacation in New England. We love New England.
Yes.
I mean, absolutely. It's not out of our bone. I watched the Newhart show, man, and I cry every time when I see Vermont and hear Vermont and think about Vermont, and it gets harder and harder to watch it, even though it's really funny. But every time we hear something about New England, we take some pride in our heart. So we can't do it every year, but if I can do it every so many years, that's kind of the plan. So we decided last year this was going to be the year, and we're going to make our first vacation and come up and experience it all, and heading to PA to do the same thing before we head back home. Yeah.
You told me when you left Vermont and you were moving back home, you said to me, private conversation off the air, you said, we have made so many roots here. We've established, we have fallen in love with so many people and have made some really incredible relationships.
Yep.
And we have no intention of letting those slip through the cracks.
Right. Yeah, that's the really hard part. When you're on vacation, you want to see everybody, and you can't.
Sure.
Like I've got we leave tomorrow and to head to PA, and man, I'm just there's a couple people I'm not going to be able to see today, but
I'm honored that you're here, buddy.
This is Beck and I were talking about it. We left everybody we knew, everything we knew, and built roots in Pennsylvania and here, and really established our own identity and the whole kit and caboodle. And so, man, it how could you, man? I mean, we were family. The hard part is that there are moments I want to come back because somebody's going through something or need to come back, and I can't. I can't because we have things pressing where we are.
Sure.
And, but when we can, man, we want to.
And you've been up here with mission groups with the not one but two floods that we've had.
Well, just with the one. I came just with one, the first one.
The first one.
Yeah, I came just with the first one. I wasn't able to come with the second one. In North Carolina, we've had our own flooding with Helene, and it hands down. All the officials, myself included, I was on the ground about a week after the flood. It's worse than Katrina. I mean, just absolutely worse than Katrina. And I was on the ground a few months after Katrina, and I thought that was horrific. But
you said to me after I'm drawing a blank, the last one up in the hills of North Carolina.
Yeah, Helene. Yeah.
You said to me, "Hey, man, the church and I are getting together with a couple of mission groups, and we're headed to the hills.
Right.
What's the name of the town up there?
We so Spruce Pine and Burnsville, North Carolina, were the hardest hit.
Okay.
And so we went to both those towns, and at that time, and it still is like this. It's not as bad now, but at that time, a week after the storm, we didn't have telephone signal. We didn't have reliable electricity. We didn't have water, and so I would literally, when I would find a telephone signal, I would text my wife and say, I am at this location.
Yeah.
And then we would lose it. And when I get it again, hey, now I'm at this location.
Yeah, right.
So that way, if something happened to me in the middle of all the assessing that we needed to do, she at least had a dot of where I was.
Right.
You know what I mean?
In our friendship, you have always reminded me, no matter what's happening, to be blessed.
Yeah.
For even hardship.
Yep.
You live your life like that. You that's who you are.
Yeah, we try.
You saw things that were unimaginable. Not just the power of what Mother Nature can do, the power of water.
Right.
But you saw homes gone. You saw lives completely shattered.
Right.
You saw death. You saw people losing their husbands, losing their wives, losing their family members. That's, I'm guessing, going to stick with you for forever. You came home from that trip a new man.
Right. My first trip up,
and you've seen some stuff, man.
Yeah. I mean, my first trip, it was a team of us pastors. My associate, Brian, was with me. He's phenomenal. And we were at this elementary school that turned into a clothing shelter. And when I tell you there was clothing, there was feet tall of clothing in a gymnasium and in every classroom, and water and all these goods. It was such incredible to see. But we got a phone call while we were there that there was a group of people stuck high up on the mountain, and they needed a certain amount of supplies, and all the supplies were at that school. So we loaded up the van and took it. They had to plow us in to where they're located. When we got there, which took forever, when we got there, the State Forestry Service, which those jokers are some bad jokers, man. I'm going to tell you, those jokers, they pull up in a quad, and we loaded that thing down, strapped it down, and when I mean they took off up a mountain, JD, I'm telling you, there was no road, there's no trail. They took off up a landslide hill to a family that we couldn't see, and it was actually a group of families, and they just took off with it, and they were going to go as high as they could with the quad, and then hike the rest of it up. And we're not talking like a few bags of stuff. I'm talking like a half a van load, 15-passenger van load full of stuff. And it just stuck with me, oh my gosh. So then we had to, we're blown away by this, and we leave. We had to get plowed out to get out of the area to get back to where we were going. And we get stuck. We're stopped along this makeshift roadway on the river, and we see a search and rescue team this close to my window, and they've got these metal prods, and they're just poking the ground. And you have to know, I know enough that the dirt along the riverbank that's there now was not there before, and it's feet high.
Yeah.
Feet. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 feet high, and they're poking around for bodies, and there's debris, and they're climbing in and out of these debris piles looking for bodies. And we know when they found a body because they would climb out and they'd mark it with a certain mark. And so one mark meant nothing's there, the other mark meant something is there. And so I've seen a lot of devastation.
I know you have.
That was next level. And we're talking a week, 2 weeks after the storm. I've been 4 times. We're sending another crew up. I won't be able to go on it at the end of June. I'll probably go one more time this year, I think. And they're still, even though things are cleaner, they're still finding bodies.
Yeah.
So man, it's incredible.
You know, every Wednesday, and as you just heard, Sweethearts and Heroes is part of my Wednesday morning program here.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about hope
Yeah.
all the time. I have said to you countless times that my personal feeling is that hope can be such a dangerous word.
Right.
In that we can have all of the hope in the world, but when nothing is delivered or nothing good results from, no matter how well we wish or hope for something,
Right.
that there's a risk that we take.
Yep.
We're vulnerable to disappointment, to defeat, and how difficult is it to have hope the next time?
Well, that's because, I say this out of love, your definition of hope is not accurate. The definition of hope is the assurance that God keeps his word. So when we took all those supplies up that mountain, there's this tiny little church. Every church became a resource center for the community. Every single church. Didn't matter what your size was, who you were, you became a distribution point of resources. And when we got there a week after the storm, and they were at max capacity, there was no need for blankets, no need for clothes, they needed gas and fuel. That was really the biggest thing at that point. A week after the storm, they needed, and so, but they had everything, and there was joy that was unspeakable, and like your telephone service and internet service is from 8 p.m. at night to 8 a.m. in the morning because Starlink sent up free satellites, and in order to accommodate law enforcement first responders, they had to turn it off to civilian use during the day. Just think about that. That's how that worked. And so, but man, like they went from losing everything that now just the community showed up in such a drastic response. They have everything they need except for fuel. We had to figure that part out. There was just such joy. I mean, the literal response was from one lady we talked to, we never thought we could have it this good. And I'm like, your homes are gone. Like your relatives are gone. And she just said, yeah, but look at what's around us. Like, look at how the communities and the state and the nation has responded to us. And so as a believer, we know that happens because God's going to keep his word. God's going to provide for us. God's going to care for us. God's going to meet the need. God's going to come alongside of us when we're at not just our highs, but even our deepest lows. God will provide for all of those needs. And so that's hope. Hope is the assurance that God keeps his word. Hope is not like buying a lottery ticket, right? Where, hey man, this could be it, bro. This could be it. This opportunity could be life-changing. That's not hope, JD. Hope is the absolute assurance that God's going to keep his word.
Wow. Man, I'm so happy to see you. I had Mary Peterson in here yesterday, and shame on me for not knowing that you were connected to Mary Peterson from Woodland Studios and her great husband. And, we were talking about you afterwards, and she's like, oh, yeah, we just had dinner and everything. And I'm like, he's one of the greatest dudes I've ever met. He's a pastor, he's a preacher, minister, whatever you want, whatever stamp you want to put on yourself. But he's also a regular dude.
Just a regular dude.
And
hey,
I love that about you,
man.
And you're the pastor of a huge church. How many members?
We're somewhere just north of 200. I mean,
Okay.
Temple Baptist Church is a fantastic church in Fayetteville. If you're driving down I-95, we're at exit 55.
Yeah.
And you can't miss us. When I tell you that I'm literally on the interstate, I literally sit at my office and look out my window and watch 95 traffic.
Wow.
I'm on I-95. We literally have our own exit. So, yeah, man, come see us. We live about 10 miles off of I-95, 10 miles, somewhere in that ballpark. Okay. And, man, we'd love for you to come see us, man. I love you, man. This is the only chance I get to see you. I'm happy with it. This is it.
And you brought me coffee this morning.
Yeah, man. Bros hook up bros, right?
You brought me a cup of Bueno, and I'm just, I wanted to ask you. I have a friend, and I don't know if she's listening right now, who is a helpless Starbucks
God bless her.
addict.
Hey, don't hate.
It's more than a fan. I'm not hating. I'm just saying. I mean, it's like, and I think of you every time because she's like, I'll drive 357 miles for a iced chai. There's something about you Starbucks people that's not right, buddy.
Well, first of all,
no. It's not right.
I like the local shops, but they're hit or miss, right? They're hit or miss, and Espresso, Bueno, and 802 coffee are sure like you're destined to get good coffee at those places.
Yeah.
So I'm not drinking Starbucks when I got either one of those two nearby.
Whoa.
But I am Starbucks over Dunkin'.
Yeah.
I am Starbucks over Dunkin'. I'm not gonna lie about it. Like,
yeah.
And the points are better. Like, dude, you go to Starbucks, you get 1 point per dollar that you spend. So, like, I get a free cup of coffee like all the time. I love it. You know what I'm saying? And if you use the gift card, it's double points. And there's some days they're like, hey, listen, you can get triple point. So, man, why wouldn't I go to Starbucks?
Yeah, but last time I went to Starbucks, I had the pumpkin latte, whatever, and I was like, it's $10.
I will pay $10. I will pay $10 over the burnt tire coffee that you get at Cumbies any day. I'm telling you, man. Have you had Cumbies coffee lately?
I haven't lately.
It is. I'm telling you, it's like you went to the governor's tire collection, licked every tire.
Yeah.
And to test them. I mean, it's awful, man. I'm telling you.
I told Mary yesterday. She's like, it's important to humanize the pastors.
She's right.
I'm like, humanize? The guy's got Steelers underwear. I mean, come on.
All right, let's talk humanize. We're getting old, JD.
Yeah, we are.
You know what I did this year?
What did you do?
I had a colonoscopy this year.
First one?
First one. Have you ever had one?
I have had one.
You've had one?
I've had one. It was nothing. It was nothing.
Really?
It really was nothing.
Did you drink the stuff or did you take the Miralax? What did you do?
I drank the stuff there. I think it's good to get cleaned out.
Absolutely.
Come on.
You need to get checked out, bro. But I took the Miralax route. I took the Miralax route. And now there's certain flavors of Gatorade that I can't drink anymore.
I understand
you know
that.
What I'm saying?
I do.
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
But listen, I've had a lot of surgeries in my life. Mm-hmm. A lot of surgeries in my life. And everybody was like, you're going to take the best nap ever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And you're going to jump up and you're going to be able to conquer the world when you're done. Sure, whatever. And I laid down, man, and they took me in and laid me down, and I could feel them prepping me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to go into detail, but you know what I'm saying? Like they're getting me ready.
Of course.
And I'm like, hey, you going to knock me out? Like, please knock me out. And the lady said, hey, watch this. And she had this syringe in my face and went,
boom.
And I woke up, and the first thing I said to Becca was, am I pretty? Am I pretty today? Do I look, Dude, I'm telling you, man, I was on another planet. Whatever that stuff they gave me, I was out. I stayed out the whole day.
Yeah.
I was messed up. I tried coaching basketball that night because I was going to man up. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was going to man up. I don't know what I told those kids. I don't even know what we did. I may have just ran them the whole time. I don't remember anything.
You don't care if they're going a foot up in there,
Yeah.
or 350
No.
feet up in there.
No.
It doesn't matter.
No, it does not matter. I mean, what matters is the clean bill of health, of course. But I'm just saying, they knocked you out. They can do whatever they want to with me, man. They probably inserted some robotic features in me, and
You
I'm
don't
going
know.
to turn into
Tracking system.
yeah, oh yeah, hands down, some secret government thing in me. But
How was March Madness for you? What were you?
we're supposed
are you
to have
Huskies?
fun, bro.
Are you
We're supposed
Huskies?
to have fun on the show.
Are you a Huskies fan? What happened?
Golly. Well, listen, I'm a realist. Cooper Flag's fun to watch. Had to pull for the New England guy.
Okay.
Can't pull for Duke. But my Tar Heels, I'm so mad, man. I'm so mad. I just want them to let me in that gym with that team for 10 minutes. That's all these 10 minutes. I'll straighten them out.
What would you say?
Play your position. Like you for crying out loud. You got to my boy Drake Powell is a slasher to the hoop. He does not shoot threes. Why are they sticking him beyond the arc to shoot threes? He is a hooper. He is a jumper. Attack the dadgum hole, man. That's what you do. No, they don't want to do that, man. They don't want. And Elliot Cadeau, until you learn to control the basketball, stop playing point guard.
Yeah.
Like, just stop playing point. Stop giving the team. Like, there were times he would stop at half court and be like, "Hey, you want the ball? Here you go. Merry Christmas." Like, stop it. Control the basketball. Like, anyway, man, I'm hot about it.
You're a basketball coach. You're a football coach.
Yes.
What am I missing here?
That's all I coach.
That's what you coach.
That's all I coach.
Still, you have for a long time,
That's right.
and you're still coaching this.
Yes. I might have retired from basketball this year, but I don't
Okay.
know yet. We're gonna see.
The NFL schedule just came out
Came out
a couple of weeks ago, 2
Right.
weeks ago, something
something
like
like that.
Are you? What say you? Are you excited? Are you? I mean,
Yeah.
listen, it's almost June. The NFL season starts tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I mean, I wish my Steelers would move away from Aaron Rodgers and let's just settle down and go get it. But I don't know why old man Aaron's got why are we caving to Aaron Rodgers? You know what I'm saying? Like the boy don't want to be here. Why are we caving to him, man? I know he's got stuff going on, and that's man, we pray for you. But bro, like, make a decision. Make a decision, and let's move on to Mason Rudolph, and let's do something else. Go get Kirk Cousins out of Atlanta because he's miserable down there, and let's compete, bro. But no, we got to wait on old man Aaron to come on. I mean, take a Geritol and put on his anyway. I just golly,
When you're preaching, and I've seen you preach before, you begin
right,
somewhat semi-scripted.
right.
Then you go nuclear, and then you try to come back
I bring it back.
to
Yeah.
planet Earth.
Right.
Have you ever incorporated the Steelers in some capacity into your sermon as a message from our Lord God?
No, I talk a lot of smack about the Cowboys. I will, because listen, man, fallen world, sinful world. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, listen, we as Steelers found a way to win this year and lose at the same time. The Cowboys can't even figure that part out.
Yes.
Like, they just lose, right? And so I have to throw the Cowboys under the bus all the time.
Okay.
It's necessary. You know what I'm saying? It's necessary. And I got a lot of Cowboy fans in my church. Yeah, I know. But listen, you know what?
Ooh.
For some reason, they don't get offended by that. They'll get offended if I talk about Pepsi's better than Diet Coke. For some reason, I don't know what that. But Cowboys, they don't get offended by. So
Wow.
I hit them when I
Be
can.
careful, buddy. You get some flat tires in the parking lot.
That's probably true.
I know we're all over the road. It's. I love talking to you, and I love seeing you, and I love you, just as a person, so much. You told me years ago you've lost how many pounds?
I lost 180. I think it was 180. I've gained back 50, and about 30 of that's muscle. When I got to North Carolina, my doctor took a look at me, and she said, "Man, you've lost too much muscle mass." And with my arthritis and my spine and stuff, she's like, you have to build muscle. So so over the last 3 years, that's been my goal, is increasing my amount of protein and building muscle. So so 3 days a week, I combine cardio and push pull resistant band regimen, and then 2 days a week I just do cardio, and then I rest the other 2 days a week. And I'm somewhere in that 1,800 2,000 calorie range every day. But I can't, like, I'm you know, the hard part is when you increase that amount of protein in your diet and your physical 5-6 days a week, like really physical, then you're always hungry, like always hungry.
Sure.
And then things get kind of out of balance. Your sugars kind of get messed up. So my sugars got a little bit out of balance. I'm working on getting that stuff under control.
That's remarkable. 180 pounds?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I'm working on the guns, baby. I'm working.
Let me see the guns.
I'm working hard on them, JD. I'm working.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Working.
Look at
Yeah. It's all this excess skin right here that I can't get rid of.
Yeah, me too. I have the same problem.
Yeah.
What are you laughing about?
Hey, we're in the same boat, bro. We're in the same boat. It's okay.
You said to me, when I lose all this weight, I want to climb Camel's Hump with you. What's going on?
Dude,
why
listen.
haven't we climbed Camel's Hump?
Because I'll tell you why. Because
Tell me why.
I did a 72-hour endurance challenge in the mountains of North Carolina, and it almost killed me. Matter of fact, my same doctor, when I came back, I had 2 vertical, what she called pre-hernias.
Okay.
And my knees are shot, and I had to come back because I couldn't get well. And
what was
she
that?
yelled at me.
What was that organization again?
It's 4M.
Yes.
It's 4M, and it's called the Extreme Character Challenge. I took a group of guys, and
hardest thing you've ever done.
Oh my gosh, hands down. So I have Fayetteville is the home of Fort Bragg, the largest military installation in the world, and largest army base in the world. And so I've got a lot of military guys in my church, and one of them is a colonel. And all I will say to you is, at one point in the night, in the wee hours of the morning, I lost control of my anger because I just wanted to sleep. That's all I wanted to do. All I wanted was a nap. That's all I wanted. And so we had these certain break moments where we had these speakers, and it was somewhere above 2 a.m. And I lost my anger on somebody, and they laid me down next to my buddy Josh, Colonel Woodruff, and he leaned over to me and he said, "I just want you to know that this is the equivalent of 3 days of Ranger School." And he said, "And you're doing pretty good." And I'm like, that says a lot, bro.
Yeah,
that says a lot.
Colonel?
Yeah, and he's like, "Now, I'm not saying you would finish Ranger School,
but you're in the thick of it."
But I'll take it, bro. I'll take it.
Wow,
I finished it, man. It wasn't pretty. I learned this lesson. Faithfulness and finishing isn't always pretty. So
wow,
it wasn't pretty, but I did it. So, and if I go back, I'm going back to help and not do it again.
Amazing.
That was hard.
Listen, we chat on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
We text. We can go months.
Yep.
Without talking or chatting, and when we do,
just pick back up.
Bang.
Hey, I got a question for you.
And here we are. It's like we're catching up live on the air.
Live on the air. Why not? This is
just
kind of what we
walked
said
in here.
We were trying to find some time, and I was like, let's just do it on the air. Let's just have some fun. All right, I got a question for you, man.
Please.
Lily's 11.
Lily's 10 years old.
10. Boys are becoming a factor.
They are.
Okay. What's your plan?
Can we hold hands and pray about this?
I have a better solution for you, but I just want to know what is your plan. I mean, well, of course we're gonna pray. Prayer's the thing, but I just want to.
This is my plan.
That's your plan,
right here.
Okay.
And I don't have the camera on me.
All right.
On purpose.
Okay.
Because I don't want Meta and Mark Zuckerberg to shut me down.
Okay.
That's my plan right there.
I might fill up your comment section right now.
Okay, please.
All right. So this is how old I am. I was at a funeral and ran into my college crew, right?
Okay.
That's how old I am. We go to funerals to see friends.
Yeah.
And I was asking my buddy Mitchell. I said, Mitchell, he lives in Western North Carolina and very rural area. I said, Mitchell, your daughter's 15. She's got a boyfriend. Yep.
Lord help him.
Yeah, right. I said, so what do you do? Like, how do you deal with all these boys? He said, Chris, I got this for you. And he showed me his picture on his phone, and it's a picture of his daughter holding up the pieces of a castrated cow.
Beautiful.
Yep. And he says, I literally
bringing a tear to my eye.
He says, I show this to every boy.
That's
That
beautiful.
he says, I don't care if they're friends. I don't care if
Oh, yeah.
I don't care if they're I don't care.
don't
Every
care
boy
either.
sees this picture, and they all understand exactly what's going on. And I think that's what you do. You take her to some dairy farm,
Yeah.
or and you let him, like, teach her how to castrate a cow.
Why doesn't he have that framed? Or does he have that framed?
I don't know. It's
Should
on
be.
his phone though, and it's easily accessible. I can tell you that much.
I understand the phone. It should be above the mantle.
Yeah, oh, for real. I'll tell him. I'll tell Mitchell. He's got to.
I have a friend who has a billion chickens, meat birds, and he slaughters them and everything, and he's got the black rubber apron,
Yeah.
and the meat cleavers and all that stuff, and he's pretty spattered up. He's like, I'll just come over the house. I'll have a little bit spattered here. And,
That is genius.
And I'll just come over the house. And I said, will you walk in with the cleaver in your hand with fresh blood on it? He says, absolutely. Of course I will. And I said, can we say that you just got out of the penitentiary? And he said, yeah, you could say that too. And that you're my Uncle Bill and you've got some mental health issues and whatever. Yes. Listen, I'll be the first person to admit.
Yeah.
I'm scared. I only have one little girl. And
Yeah.
She's 10. And I'm scared. I'm not scared about her. She's going to make good decisions. She's going to.
Oh, yeah.
But the other guy, and she's already got this friend.
Do we know his name?
I'm not
we
going
need to talk about him on
I'm
air?
not going to say his name. Carson. Whoops. But this is a moment in my life where I've got friends who are older than me, and they've got kids in their late teens and early 20s, and they're like, bro, buckle up.
So I was hoping to see Lily and remind her of what I told her before we left. And that is that if a boy or man is hurting you, that there's 3 places that you need to hit.
Mm-hmm.
Nuts, knees, and throat.
Wow.
Yeah, nuts. I tell every young lady this.
And that's coming from a pastor.
Listen, bro.
That's beautiful.
Listen, I'm just telling you right now.
Beautiful.
Self-defense. Listen, bring Rex in here, right? I'll tell him the same thing. He needs to add that to his curriculum. I'm just saying, like, listen, inside, outside the knees,
Yes.
right? You'll
Yeah.
debilitate them. They'll hit the ground. They're not going to chase you at that point,
Sure,
right?
sure.
And if they get up from that, they're going to be real slow,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And of course the nuts, right?
Yes,
That's
well,
going to do. And listen, the throat, like they're not going to be able to say anything.
Sure.
They're gasping for air. I'm telling you, this is what I tell young ladies. This is, and then run and run and get help.
Yes.
Run and find your crazy uncle who's with the meat cleaver. And
Yes. I love you so much.
you tell her Uncle Chris
greatest guy.
said, this is how you handle a boy who's getting abusive to you. This is what you do.
Oh, man. Dude, she's, the other day, and I've already talked about this on the air once, but the other day we had a blue jay that got stuck in the chicken coop, and she went in there and rescued this blue jay. I mean, how many of us get to hold a blue jay?
Yeah, for real.
And she's holding this blue jay and just loving up on this thing, and it's closing its eyes, and they're having their moment. Very late for school.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, Dad, we got to go to school. I'm really late. And I'm like, screw it, man.
Yeah.
Just savor this moment.
Yeah.
And she did for the longest time.
Yeah.
look at this bird up close. This is nature. This is a gift from God. This is an opportunity.
Yeah, that's right.
We're not passing this up.
That's right.
I don't care if we're late for school.
She's not going to learn that in the classroom.
Exactly.
She's not going to learn. That's why we homeschool.
Yeah, man.
Because, man, you can't pass up those kinds of experiences, and
Right.
that's an education of itself.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Another experience, and I thought of you. Literally, I'm not making this up.
Yeah.
2 days ago, mowing, because we haven't had a chance to mow here in Vermont for the last 6 years because of the rain. Mowing. What do you think happened to me?
Did you find a snake?
You bet.
What'd you do?
Came out right, almost ran over it. Went in front of the, going as
Why
fast
didn't you
as,
run over it?
Well, because God created this beautiful creature.
Snakes are meant to die. That's why they live. They live to get killed. There's no good reason. They kill mice. Well, so do cats. Like, get a cat.
Yes.
Right? But there's no good. Come on,
What's
man.
what's good? Yes.
Blow them up.
I have
Treat it like the gopher.
Well, so I scream like a girl to Sherilyn to help me.
She did not.
Because listen, it's at this point in the head, it's kill or be killed.
Oh yeah.
So she comes running out of the house because I'm screaming hysterically. It was about maybe a foot long garter snake. Doesn't matter if it's a garter, a moccasin, the cottonmouth or whatever they're called.
Needs to die.
Yeah,
needs to die.
She comes running out and grabs it and picks it up, and it's up around the neck and it's coiled all around her arm.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. Nope.
Nope.
And I'm like, she saved me. She saved my life. But I'm like, man, it's like Autry's got to hear about this.
Listen, let me tell you one. So last summer, Sam was at the church with me, and there was his buddy Charlie was there. Charlie's mom is one of our admins at church, and so we're all there. And these birds had built this nest on like the front of the church, and we have these little nest protectors, and still they built it. I don't know what they did. Well, these two little baby birds fell out, and they come running in the office with these two baby birds, and they're just squealing. And so Charlie's mom gets a box and makes a little thing out of it, and she's like, I don't know what to do. I said, I don't know what to do either. And so I said, well, let me take them, and I'll go to the forestry service was right behind our church. So let me go to the forestry office. Drove over there, and they looked at, and I walked in. I said, I got these birds. They fell out. I can't get them back up there. What do I do with them? And, dude, they looked at me like I was an idiot. I'm like, they were like, just let them die. Like, go put them in the woods, let a snake eat them. And I'm like, I'm not letting these birds die. Like, what's wrong with y'all?
I am not giving a snake a free meal.
You are the United States Forestry Service. What are you talking about? So then there was a little nature center in Fayetteville, so I drove over there, walked in. There's a school group there, tons of kids. And this guy in the middle was like, what do you got? I got these two birds. They fell out of the nest. They're baby birds. What do I do with them? And in front of all these kids and their parents, he goes, you just stick them in the woods and let them die. Like, that's just how life works. You just let them die.
No way.
That was the wrong thing to say, because every mama and kid in that building swarmed him. You're going to let these birds die? Like, he had to take me to a back office. I thought they were going to hurt him. You know what I mean? He took the birds and he covered them up, and they rested and whatever, and we left them there, and I'm sure he took them in the woods to let them die. But I'm going to tell you something. There was a moment there, I thought these mamas were going to come out and, like, they were going to put him out in the woods with the snakes and let him die.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
You know what I mean? The Vermonter inside of me was like, we're not letting the birds die. What are you doing?
What have you done since you've only been in Vermont a couple of days? Who have you seen? What have you done? Where have you gone? Where have you eaten? Tell me about it. You're leaving tomorrow to go back to North Carolina?
Yeah, we're going to see our friends in Pittsburgh tomorrow. Okay. Sam wants to go by Penn State, and he wants to go see Penn State, so we're gonna squeeze by there. Man, right now they're eating at the Wayside. I've been to Espresso twice. Have to go to the Meltdown. We love Diane.
Yeah.
Have to go to the Meltdown.
Of course.
And I'll tell you a really cool story. When I had gastric bypass, I forget if it's 3 or 4 weeks, whatever it is, I was on an all liquid diet, and I can only have a little bit of liquid. And there's nowhere in Vermont to eat like that. And my friends, I had some friends coming to town. They wanted to go out to eat. So we took them to the Meltdown, and my plan was just to sit there and sip water. That was literally the plan. And Diane went and got me just the broth of one of her soups and brought it to me. Yeah. And then every week after that, like she would, Becca would notify her, she'd call Becca or whatever, hey, come by and get some broth for it. Like she would make, she was just fantastic. So we're friends with Diane, and so we have to go to Meltdown. And, man, listen, I love going to Cabot and grazing the cheese table. It's different now, though. They don't have all the cheese. I don't know what that's about. But we Cabot and Lake Champlain chocolate. I have to go get the champagne truffle, dark chocolate, cold hollow. I did sip a little bit of apple cider. It was so good.
Yeah.
It was so good. Today we're having lunch. I have to go to Lake Champlain. If I move back to Vermont, I am praying God would let me live on Lake Champlain.
You love Champlain.
Love it.
Yeah.
So we're going to Lake Champlain for lunch, and then we're having dinner with some friends tonight. Went and saw some ball games. Man, all these kids I coach, they're growing.
Yeah.
Golly, they're growing deep voices, and they're taller than me.
Speaking of tall, how tall is Sam now? Because Mary was saying he's like 10.
He's like 5'10". I think he's grown in the last week. I think he's like 5'10". He is. I'm 5'10", so he's just a little taller than me.
How old is he?
He's 15.
And he's taller than you.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Dude, size 15 shoe. He's going to shoot up, man.
What's he playing? He's doing hoop, right?
Basketball, football, and he's throwing shot put, running the 100-meter dash.
Wow.
He started last year on varsity at right guard, D end, and center, and we rotated him in and out a lot. Last year was a hard year for football for everybody, but he moved over to power forward for me because I got some taller kids and who can jump a bit higher than him. But Sam's a good body; he can power to the hole. So he had a really good year in basketball. Really good year in basketball. But
so I have to ask you, he's 15. Girlfriend?
Man, that's a sensitive subject around our house, bro.
It says right behind you.
It
aired out.
I'm not saying I won't talk about it, but the boy, listen, man, dating now is much different than it was when we were his age.
Yeah, it's all like
text message now. Mm-hmm. They don't talk on the phone. They don't,
everything's
Instagram
scripted.
Message. Yeah. I mean, it is weird. And now there's these things that kids are doing where, like, you don't ask a girl for a phone number. Your friend gets her number for you, and you never – and, like, she does the same. It's so weird.
Sure.
It's weird.
Underground.
You know what I mean? And so it's a sensitive subject. And now, like, girls will like you and not tell you that,
Sure.
And then when it gets disclosed, they don't like you, and boys at the same time are, they'll like a girl and they'll tell the girl, and then, like, the next day they don't like the girl, they move on, and we're trying to be like, listen, man, you date one girl at a time.
Oh yeah.
You don't date multiple girls at a time. You chase after her heart, right? You're not chasing after her body. You're chasing after her heart.
Yeah.
And you allow the Lord to work in all of that. But man, I mean, dude, we have a home landline that never gets. We don't make calls on, and so I'm like, Sam has a cell phone, but it's under. It's kind of locked up right now. I'm like, give the girl the home number. No, Dad. No, I'm not. That's not what we do. It's not what we do. I don't get it.
When you say locked up, are you talking about like in a safe?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah. We're learning responsibility, man. You got to be. If you got a cell phone, you got to be responsible with it.
Wow.
You got to be responsible with it. Do you know what what's helped out the most on vacation is that I only use this phone for certain things. I leave it in the car.
Yeah.
The only reason I have it now is so Becca can come back and pick me up and
Sure.
she'll know where I'm at. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
If I could, I would. Listen, we had the SBI show up at our church to do a seminar on cyber safety and all that stuff, like sex trafficking and stuff. When they got done, JD, I kid you not, I turned around and looked at everybody, including my buddy who's the colonel, and we all said, hey, listen, Chris, do you know of a remote island in Vermont that we can all move to where there's no electricity and there's no nothing and we can just ditch the cell phones and start a commune? And I'm like, yes, that's exactly what we all want to do. I'm like, dude, man, people crazy in this world, JD, they crazy. And I'm not done with all the craziness, man. Like hacking in the cameras on your phone and oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, Snapchat's the devil. Don't get involved. Like, get off of Snapchat. I
know, man. You know, it's like Lily's got the damn tablet going all the time now, and we don't know if we're looking at something that's AI generated, if it's real or if it's not real.
Dude, for real.
I'm like, Lily, that's not real.
Yeah.
What do you mean, Dad? What do you mean real? What is real? What's real?
So this is how crazy things are. If you go to I'm gonna scare you now. This is straight from the State Bureau of Investigation in North Carolina.
You're scaring me in those shorts.
Let's say you go, hey man, when you got the legs. Anyway, let's say you go to Boulder Beach.
Yeah.
And you guys are playing, having a good time, picnicking, swimming, whatever. And somebody takes a picture of their own kid and you're in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're not trying to take a picture of you, but you're in the background.
Yeah.
They post it on social media.
Right.
Anybody who sees that picture can cut you out of it and then present you in a way that and they will exploit you without you knowing about it.
Yes.
And they can exploit you sexually. They can exploit you. They can do whatever they want to that picture. And there's not one thing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Not one thing. If they reached out to you and tried to ask for money and whatever, literally it's so prevalent that the State Bureau of Investigation is like, we have to go.
Yeah.
A case like that's not as important as this case over here, so we have to let that just be. And they can't. There's nothing you can do, man. Nothing.
I want to close out this morning by asking you a question.
Yeah.
That I haven't had a chance to ask you. Looking into the camera, what would you say to Brandon Carbo? You got a chance to see him. Sit down with me.
Right.
Brandon is for those of you that don't know, is a local guy who's been in a lot of trouble. There's a lot of drug use. There's a lot of misdirection in his life, and he has been described as a real nuisance, a real problem in our community. He's not the only one, but a lost soul who's consistently making some really bad decisions, not well liked. Business owners in town are fed up with, and not just Brandon and the panhandling and whatnot, but others as well. We have a problem here in our little Granite City, but there's problems everywhere, in every city, in every town. You've got them down there in Fayetteville. Yeah. What do you say to this guy? Did you get a chance to see that interview?
I did watch the interview, and I was really disappointed in some of the comments in the comment section because I think there's a lot of people who lacked understanding, compassion. I think what you did was phenomenal to at least give us an inside picture of why this person is in the situation that he's in and why he is the way he is. And I would, if I could broad stroke it, like I'm watching people walk by. Right when I walked in, I literally saw 3 people like showing off their ankle bracelets, their ankle detectors, and laughing about it. So it's not just Brandon Carbo. I would say you are making a decision to allow rough, hard circumstances in your life define the steps you take right now. And it's your decision. Like, it's not, we're not choosing it for you. It's painful that you've had the loss that you've had. It's painful that you are struggling with the things that you're struggling with right now, and that you got family who is wrestling with things, and maybe you're having to take responsibility for, like, all of that. But you are choosing to let that define you and who you are right now. And what you need to be doing is making a completely different choice. You need to understand that you are not defined by the circumstances you're in, or even the addictions you have, or the hardships you've gone through. You are defined as being God's child first and foremost. You are blessed, adopted by Jesus Christ, saved and redeemed and loved and cared for and been given grace and mercy. When you put your faith in Christ, he takes you from who is dead to now alive. This is Ephesians chapter 2 in the Bible. Like, you need to understand your identity, and our whole community's identity is not found in your circumstances or who you want to be. It's defined by who God made you to be and how God made you and his redemption for you. So, it pains me to see. It pains me not only to see that this kind of lifestyle is celebrated, but it's also tolerated, even by our legal system. It pains me to see that that now we just kind of settle into the rhythm of this is just who we are, when that's not who you are and who you're meant to be. And guys like Brandon Carbo can live a life that's totally worthy of goodness and strength and wisdom. His life could totally be redeemed. I think that there needs to be compassion, but also thinks there needs to be a strong law. And there needs to be some kind of strength from the legal system, not just law enforcement, but from the court system, from the state house, from who makes the laws. There needs to be some strong effort to curb and change the culture that is really hindering and hurting a community. At the exact same time, we need to have compassion to look at somebody who's been in the situation and help them walk out of it. At the end of the day, it's Brandon Carbo and everybody who's in his boat. It's their choice. It's not like you've got to choose to take those steps out and use those resources.
Want it. You have to want it
Yeah,
badly. You have to want sobriety badly enough to be able to get on the road.
Yeah.
And even if you fall off the road, you've got to want it badly enough to get back on it. And we as a society are almost, for lack of a better term, forced to tolerate.
Yeah. I think that, I have a lot of compassion for those guys who are making the effort in struggling to take steps out of old lifestyles and old sins. I think that is what a community like us, those like us in a community, that's what we need to have. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we have that. And let me say, there's some of that's understandable. When you've got a habitual offender that's continued, like, it's hard to give forgiveness to an habitual offender. Mm-hmm. It just is. Mm-hmm. Say what you want, right? And I'm not going to fault somebody who's struggling in that, and that's struggling to forgive somebody when they're just habitually continuing to do what they want to do and doing what they're doing. So, but I will say, you've got to make that choice. It's not my choice to make. It's not your choice. You got to make that choice. There's people obviously here to help you. You got to make the choice not only to take the first step, but every step after that, and stay faithful to it.
Thanks for coming in here, man.
Hey.
Thanks for coming on with me, buddy.
Thanks for letting me crash it.
Love you to
Love
pieces.
you too, man.
Let's have our off-air laughs too, which, let's be honest, some of our conversations off the air really would pay pay-per-view. Am I right?
That's right. That's exactly right. Hey, somebody down here, I can't read it this far away. Francine, somebody says she hates snakes. Thank you.
Yes.
We're together.
Thank you. We're all part of that club.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Why did God create snakes? Did God create snakes?
God created snakes. I'm just not really sure what the reason is. I ask all the time, right? I ask all the time. Like, what's the point in shoveling snow in the wintertime when the snowplow's going to come and refill up your driveway anyway, or it's going to dump another 4 inches?
That's equal to, why did you create snakes?
Yeah, I ask these questions.
There's no answer.
The Lord will tell me in due time.
When you get the answer, would you let me know?
I'll let you know.
Thank you.
I'll come on air too and let everybody know.
Please.
Okay.
Love you, buddy.
Love you too, man.